Mike Bohn here with Bellator middleweight champ Johnny Eblen. And Johnny, it's been almost 3 months to the day since you won that title against Gegard Mousasi. I know it's like a very generic question, but how does life feel now? Has it been any different these last 3 months now that you get to walk around with that belt?
A little bit, a few people treating you different, but same old, just getting back to training, treating it like any other day.
Yeah. Do you like hang the belt somewhere nice in your apartment there? Do you just kind of put it in the closet away, like out of sight, out of mind?
Well, I had it at my house here, but I ended up putting it in ATT's case because the replicas aren't coming. Like he got Dan Lambert got a replica, but it was like small and it came out weird. So he sent it back and he's like waiting. And I was like, you know what? I don't even know what to do with this belt, bro. So I'll just put it up in the case. And he was like super hyped about it. So yeah, it's sitting at ATT right now.
That's great. Is that the first belt? No, they probably had a couple Bellator belts in there, but like people, I'm sure some people who may not know what we're talking about, right? When you walk into American Top Team, there's like multiple cases of
I think
all
there's
the
three.
belts.
Yeah, there's three belt cases right now. And well, I'm the only one that has a new Bellator belt.
Okay.
So, yeah.
There you go. Well, that must be a good feeling. Nice, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, been a couple months now. And what have you been doing? Like, have you just been kind of, like you said, back to training? Has there been any talks about what could be next? Or are you kind of just sitting on your hands at the moment?
So we're thinking I'm probably going to fight early next year. Just how it's making sense right now with what they're scheduling and who's available to fight. Because I think the most name that was talked about my title defense was Tokov,
Yeah.
and it makes sense. And I'm down to get that fight, but I guess he's having trouble with a visa or something. I'm not quite sure. Um, Obviously, we have Edwards there, but he's about to fight Ward, I think. Yeah, in the next month or something like that.
Yep.
I think over in Italy. So, I mean, he really wasn't brought up because um, he had a fight scheduled. So, and I think he's even thinking that he's going to have to fight, win a couple before he can get a title shot. And then we also had obviously Yoel,
Yep.
and then and then we also had who was it? Austin, but Austin ended up losing his last fight. So, and then I think a Mousasi rematch is kind of out of the question. We haven't heard anything from him. I was kind of joking when I said I'd retire another person because I obviously didn't retire Gegard, but yeah. Anyway, some talks. I think the most sensible title defense would be Tokov because that's the name I've heard in my ear. But obviously Yoel can be in the picture too. We just got to make sure he can make weight. Dude hasn't made 185 since 2020.
No.
And yeah, and I mean he beat Polizzi. That's a good win, but Polizzi pretty one dimensional, and then he beat Manhoff pretty one dimensional, and the guy that he lost to, Phil, if he would have beat Mr. Wonderful, I mean I think he would have set himself up better for a title shot. But I feel like he needs another solid win, especially at 185, so he can make sure he can make weight because he's always had weight trouble.
Yeah, and that seemed to be like, obviously, if anyone did miss it over the weekend, Bellator 2-Day 5, Yoel Romero gets a nice win over Melvin Manhoff, and then he says, I'm the best middleweight in the world.
He's not, though. He's not. He's good. He's explosive. Even at 45, he's still dangerous in some situations, but I think I'd put on a pressure that, he couldn't sustain, and I think I drowned him out there. But yeah, man. I mean, I think he's a good name to beat. He'd be a good name to add to the resume.
Yeah, I mean, a great name. Obviously, like Tokov, like you said, very deserving. He's put in the work in Bellator, but when it comes to like the significance and the notoriety of those matchups, it's apples and oranges, right? Like obviously for your career, someone that's trying to flourish and get more notoriety, that is the biggest fight out there for you.
Yeah, but also it's like I don't want to have to deal with someone that can't make weight.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know if that dude's all natural. I really don't care. I'll beat his ass if he's on steroids or not. I really don't care. Not to say that he's on steroids, but I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But all these motherfuckers are on steroids, right? Like Nate Diaz. But yeah, I think Tokov's the more deserving guy. He's on a. I don't even know how long of a win streak he's on. I think on like an 8-fight win streak or something like that.
Yeah,
something
I think he's
crazy.
7-0 in Bellator.
I think he's actually more well-rounded than Yoel. He's actually better in some instances. I think just Yoel's a bigger name, so more people know him. So more people are like kind of, hey, Yoel should get a title shot, you know?
No. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes now. And I mean, you look at kind of I can say from our side, like the numbers and stuff that Yoel's like stories do and the highlights and all that. There is a very strong interest in him still. And I know that's why Bellator wanted him. You know, Coker was kind of in that stage where he's like, we're not going to sign these like UFC cast offs. You've lost a few in a row, but I think they saw the value in him. That's why they brought him over.
I mean, he lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think they kind of made the exception for him in that regard, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it just depends on.
I mean, Nate actually just got a win. So,
yeah.
But I guess they were in talks about getting him as well. So they say that, but then they end up doing it if it's a big enough name. You know what I mean? But it makes sense. I get it. I get that side of the business as well.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, makes sense on there. And then, like I said, it brings kind of the high profile fights to you. But I guess it's going to come down.
I'm not upset. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to come down to timing too, right? Like it seems like Bellator now, they're scaling back a little bit on the number of events they do. It seems like it's probably one a month now at this point. You know, I know they are going back to Dublin in February there, and I'm guessing it might be easier for Tokov to get a visa there, but then Romero said he'd like to fight in Europe. So I don't know. It seems like things are in play here. Are you interested in fighting in Dublin, though, or would you rather stay stateside?
Yeah, I would love to fight in Dublin. I've never been there, so that'd be awesome. And yeah, I don't care. I'll fight anywhere, especially for a title shot. Yeah, that'd be fucking sick, you know, because I would get to, you know, kind of explore Dublin after defending my title and, you know, get some Irish fans out there.
Yeah. Is there a point here? Like, are you getting antsy or are you just kind of going with the flow? Like, are you sitting here being like, damn, like I want something done soon? Or are you okay if it takes, you know, another month, 6 weeks, whatever it may be?
I'm not antsy. I get it. Like they're scaling back on the shows. I gotta fight on a, like, you know, I'm the main event. So it has to make sense for them scheduling wise. So, and I made enough money this year. I wish I could fight one more time this year and make some more. And then also I'm getting into my prime and I'm healthy. I want to get more fight experience. So I want to fight as much as possible, but I understand the logistics of it. So I'm not really, you know, pressing too hard. It's okay. I understand the situational, like, I have situational awareness when it comes to this stuff. So, but I've just been training my ass off, training smart, training hard, getting a lot of sparring rounds, just getting better with how I can with the tools I have instead of like, you know, getting fights. I'm getting more sparring in.
Yeah, and it seems like this kid, you know, if it works out, maybe set the stage for a pretty busy year for you next year. If you get to fight January, February, that could be 3 fights next year, right?
Yeah, that's what I hope for. I want to stay active and I want to fight often.
For sure. And going back to Yoel, I mean, because that seems like maybe the fight that could be pushed for the most. What would you just think of his performance out there? I mean, he kind of fights very methodically, but it seems like in these third rounds, that's when he turns it on. He has, you know, I put out a stat today that like between his UFC and Bellator careers, he's got 8 third-round finishes, which I think is like the most of any fighter. So it seems like he kind of carries that power later in the fights, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to conserve his power. I think he's worried about, you know, gassing, and I think I'll gas him. So that's kind of like, you know, part of my, I guess my game plan, if that fight were to happen, is to put the pressure on him and drown him. But I mean, a couple things he did well. I liked how he actually used his wrestling a little bit and held Manhoff down. Didn't do much with it in the first round. Second round, he actually got his takedowns got stuffed, and no one was really landing anything super clean, and no one was really throwing that much volume on the feet. It was kind of boring. Third round, he picked it up, you know, got the takedown early, and then you know, I think Melvin was just kind of like, you know, checked out, and I mean, he landed some vicious elbows. No doubt the dude's powerful, no doubt. And, you know, landed some vicious elbows and KO'd him. And I thought that was awesome. It's good that he got a finish like that, you know, instead of it being like a lackluster, like 3 rounds and it not really like him using his wrestling and just kind of laying on top of the guy. But yeah, it was I wasn't super impressed, but I get it. He went in and got the finish in the third and, you know, looked good.
Yeah, what did you think of the barking celebration?
That was interesting. It was funny because, like, I have a dog, and my dog was, like, looking around like, what the fuck? Is there a dog in here? Me and Yoel got that dog in us. Like, I don't know if you've seen those memes lately. But, like,
yeah, of course.
They had, like, the x-ray of, the fucking skeleton, and there's, like, a little, like, pit bull. Like, at where the heart is. Like that boy
Yeah,
got that dog in him.
so
But
funny.
I think I'm a bigger dog than he is, though. I
Did
think
you
I'm
guys ever
more
train
deserving
together?
of the love.
I know he's
No,
not at ATT anymore. He's mostly in Miami, but yeah, you guys never
never,
crossed paths when he was
never,
there.
never crossed. I think I actually fought one of his training partners way back when I did amateur fights. Like I fought a Cuban wrestler. I think it was like my second amateur fight. I forgot his name. I would have to look on Tapology or something. But no, never crossed paths with him. Never trained with him. Actually, no. Paulino trained him for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess that relationship went south because I don't know, something. One end of the deal didn't get paid through or something, and then like kind of split off from there. But yeah, I don't know. Never really ran into him. Never really. I haven't met him actually. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, I guess just kind of put a bow on this. Like, if they come to you, say, "Hey, Johnny, like February, we want to do the fight with Yoel," are you accepting it? Or are you saying I need some sort of assurances that he's going to make weight? If he
I
doesn't make
mean,
weight, what do we do? What are the conversations
there's
like?
going to be a lot of things they're going to have to do to make sure, like, if this motherfucker doesn't make weight, like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Do like what? Like, that's the one thing I'm worried about. He's not going to make weight. And plus, it's like he's not as deserve. He's just a big name. He's not as deserving as these other guys that I see that are that fought that are fighting through to get to a title shot. That are really more deserving. Like honestly, I think Tokov and Edwards are more deserving, especially if Edwards puts on a good show this next month.
Yeah.
Those would make more sense, but I understand. Like I kind of get it. But I mean, I feel like there'd have to be someone on the sideline, that makes weight just in case something weird were to happen. Like, let's say the doctor says like he can't fight or some shit,
Yeah.
or I don't know. Like weird. Like he even had something weird happen with him in Rumble, right? Like like some doctor thing. Like I think it was like 2 weeks out from the fight or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but he
He
seems to have a lot of
was
issues when it comes to 185. Even that fight was at 205 and he had issues. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think your concerns there are extremely valid. And I mean, that's, I guess, the interesting position you're in now, right? As the champion between, balancing being the guy who wants to, honor the weight class and give the guy who's earned the opportunity as opposed to, the quote unquote money fights or the
I'll fight both. The thing is, I'll fight both of them. Like,
exactly.
like what's the rush for Yoel? Like, oh, he's gonna get older. Okay, well, like,
He's already 45.
If I fight 3 times next year, like, it gives him more time to make weight too. It gives him more time to cut down. So in the meantime, why don't I get a fight?
Yeah.
And put it on somebody so he can healthily make 185. Fight Tokov, beat Tokov. Then I'll fight Yoel. I'll fight everybody. I don't give a fuck. I'll fight the who's who because I want to be the GOAT. So that's my goal. So I'm looking forward to a fight. I just don't want weird shit to happen to where something doesn't play out. You know what I mean? And then like going through a whole camp and like not having a fight.
Yeah.
That would suck. And then not getting paid. You know what I mean? I'm sure Bellator would work something out to where like someone was getting paid, maybe getting some type of money. But yeah, man, I don't know.
Not your full purse. Yeah, I think they're extremely valid concerns. I don't think anyone would, blame you for wanting assurances and for doing all the things you just mentioned there. So
yeah,
I think that's all extremely legit. Couple more things before I let you go. Obviously, a middleweight title fight in the UFC coming up pretty soon here. What do you think of Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira? How do you think that one goes down?
That's going to be an exciting one. I'm really looking forward to that fight. Striker versus striker, but I could see like who knows, maybe Israel throws us a little curveball and fucking uses some grappling in his advantage. You know what I mean? But I think Izzy's gonna walk away with it. To be honest, if you watch the kickboxing fight between him and Pereira, not to like knock Pereira or anything, but he was beating Pereira and then Pereira just starched him. Yep. Pereira got power, but I could see Izzy outpointing him for 5 rounds or even KO. He could get a KO, or I more see Pereira KOing Izzy to win as opposed to Izzy KOing Pereira to win. Like I see Izzy outpointing him, whereas if Pereira wins, he's probably gonna have to get a knockout.
Yeah. And if Pereira does win, I think that brings up the who is the actual best middleweight in the world debate, makes it a lot more intriguing.
Oh,
right?
dude, that makes it way more interesting. Way
Yeah.
more interesting. Yeah.
Well, you'll get your chance to, make a claim once again. Hopefully they get you in there either January or February. No later than that, though, right? You want to fight in those
No,
first.
yeah, I want to fight early next year. I want to be one of the first cards that they announce. I'm pretty sure we're gonna either do January or February.
Yeah.
Definitely early next year. Yeah, man. Fucking, I want to get in there and get. I want to fight, bro. That's why I'm in this business. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. No, fair play, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. And it seems like no matter what happens, some intriguing stuff coming up for you. It's shaping up to be a good year for Johnny Eblen in 2023. So wishing you all the best and looking forward to seeing you in there, whoever it may be against.
You too, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your time.